Thank you, Douglas. Yes, the FIT people are still here. And we are teaching just those things that you're talking about line, texture, human form in our classes. Okay, we have a couple of questions from the audience. And one is for Virgil. Was your experience collaborating with Donna Karan a good experience? And would you do it again?
Is this on? Yes. Yeah. I definitely would do it again. I'm always looking for collaborations on that level. And it's just to really learn and more about how to pull this off and to spread it to the next generation of designers that are coming up. Learn as much as I can, and that way it could be a instrument to help them do it successfully also. And yes, it was a fun time. It was incredible.
It kind of sounds like it led you on to what you were currently doing.
Yeah, it's just like being able to talk with her and ghost her. Like I was able to sit next to her in her office, and she let me follow her around the whole day. We went to all the different levels, and the skyscraper were her. Did I turn it off? Oh, all right. But just to be able to ghost her and like learn how she talks to all of her employees, all the designers, like when they have lunch, how they go check up on all the different the fabrications and all the samples that they're working on, how to set up a showroom, how to do the pricing, how to, like, you have to have a whole team behind you because you can't do it yourself. It's too big, too fast. But to be able to have that knowledge behind you, and now to be able to share it with people like Doug and Jessica and all the other designers that she represents on her website, you know, like I'm an open book to anybody that wants to ask me questions about that, and I'm willing to help.
That's great. Thank you. Another question from the audience is, how do fashion designers go about collaborating with Native artists? And perhaps that's a question for Jessica, maybe?
I think it begins with a conversation and reaching out to the artists and designers. In the examples that I've heard with Virgil, for example, it was Donna Karan and her team, you know, being in Santa Fe and seeing his work and then wanting to do that meeting, that intro meeting. Same with the collaboration with between Valentino and Christy Belcourt. They had seen her work online and had reached out to her through email and then Facebook. So it sounds like that's the way that people do it, is just that initial reaching out. Hey, I'm representing this brand or this designer. Would you be interested in collaborating? So, and the thing too is that maybe the artist or designer doesn't necessarily want to work with you. It is a two-way street. It is coming together at the table as equals. That's why I see so much power in it, and I want to continue to support the idea of collaborations. I just hope that the brands and the companies will respect the art and the artists and the Native American cultures as you know, something important that's deserving of respect.
Okay, thank you. Another one from the audience. Cultural appropriation of Central or South American Indians. It's regarding Central and South American Indians. Why have we not seen examples of that today? Why do designers seem to appropriate mostly from Africa, Native America, China, and Japan? For any of you.
I think the only, not that I don't take the question seriously, but I think we really are focused on what's happening here in America and here in this area with all the tribes that are already there. But I know that natives from the southern continent are being ripped off constantly. All you got to do is walk out here on Broadway and you'll see stuff for sale. And I'm sure a lot of that stuff is not made in Guatemala. Some of it might be made in China. You see it on tennis shoes. You see it a lot. You see limited editions. I mean, we don't really know, like Vans shoes loves to do all these awesome limited editions, collaboration, but how much of that really goes back to those communities? That's the thing I didn't say about Volcom, is X amount of dollars went back to my community. I'm about to do another project with another company, but I kind of put that in there. X amount of funds will be allocated to support skateboarding in my community. But in reality, my community is the Indian community. In a microcosmic way and a macrocosmic way, I am Indian country. You're looking at Indian country. I may not be able to speak for all Native people, but I am a micro and macrocosmic part of Indian country. That's why I'm here. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, thank you. Another from the audience. Collaboration is one solution. Has cultural appropriation, what are other ways to be successful without white support?
Without white support?
That's the question. Mm-hmm.
I think that's a kind of funny question, personally. Because I love white people.
I think Doug, you can handle this one.
Where would we be without white people? My gosh, we wouldn't be on reservations, that's for sure. And if all the white people were as Cherokee as they were, there probably wouldn't even be any reservations. I mean, but that's the whole irony of part of this conversation and part of this presentation is because white supremacy is so prevalent and institutional racism, this is what allows people like Rachel Dolezal to say, well, I have cultural fluidity because I'm white. And this is what allows white designers, white brands, white fashion houses to take ad infinitum. You just showed it all the way going back to the 80s. And where's that guy from Gettysburg? They've been doing this since the 1600s. Where is he? He went home, right? The Gettysburg guy went home. Yeah. Shannon said from the 1600s, these white guys were dressing like Indians, but I know why. They were trying to destabilize native communities and pretending to be native so they could take over and eventually conquer them, and they did. He says, no, it's because they wanted to identify with Native people. No. That's not what you do when you're trying to identify with people. That's what you do when you're trying to tear down their community. But I liked your presentation. I did. But, you know, you got to, I hate to say it, but you got to think like a Native person sometimes. Because we don't trust anybody. That's evil laughter, by the way.
Okay, let's change the tone a little bit.
Was it something I said?
Okay.
Oh my God, this is off now.
Okay. What do you envision, hope, strive, fight, project, and uphold for the future of Indigenous Native fashion?
I think, like, just talking about it now and everybody's getting more educated about the whole situation is very important. It's going to be word of mouth, it's going to be blogging, and it's going to be everything about it. So we would want to ask all of you guys to tell as many people as you can what you're hearing about in the symposium and helping all of us, the creative natives, to really find more possible collaborations. And, you know, from my point of view, I just really want to reach out to all the native designers that I want to show them exactly how to really copyright their stuff, trademark, register it, all of everything, and protect every series that they do, because that's important to speak their language, and you're able to talk with the companies. So the more educated you are with yourself to be able to present something to the company, it's going to happen a lot quicker, and it's going to you'll feel more safer, get the contract, and, you know, have your own lawyer too.
I think that we live in an incredibly exciting time. We're seeing this upswing of Native American representation in the fashion industry as a whole. Native fashion has existed as an entity since at least the 1950s with Lloyd Kiva-New, who was a Cherokee designer, very successful Cherokee fashion designer in Scottsdale. And it's it's existed at least since that point. And we've seen it, at least through my research, come and go in sort of waves. In the 70s and 80s, we saw Native women designing for women of their own community, but that market wasn't large enough to sustain that movement. And so it is absolutely critical that we reach beyond just our communities and that we reach people outside, and that we are sharing bits of our culture, bits of ourselves with the rest of the world in authentic ways and in true ways and in respectful ways. It's an exciting time. We have people who have been in this industry for decades. I mean, Virgil, you know, that collaboration was 2002.
I'm old.
That was 15 years ago. That's amazing. Dorothy Grant is here, and she's been doing amazing things for the past 2 decades at least. Patricia Michaels has been, you know, showcased on Project Runway and on TV and here at New York Fashion Week, and there's so many exciting things going on, and we want to continue that momentum. There's not a lot of us, really. There isn't. So we need your energy, your raw support. We need that. So we are asking you guys, word of mouth. We are a very grassroots movement, and we need your support. We do.
Okay, great.
I think I'd just like to see Native people get more also into the production end of things, so we don't have to outsource everything. Of course, putting people to work in Native communities, whether it's in the city or the res, I think it's really important. I think the production end is awesome, and I also think I'd like to see Native people, you know, become really look at their work as epic as it really is. I don't think Native people really see their work as epic as it really is. Like, I've always been amazed at the work of Virgil Ortiz, because I think to myself, it's deceptively simple. Because at first when you look at it, it seems simple, but it's deceptively simple, because his use of monochromatic and raw color, it excites me, because I'm thinking, he's doing a lot with just really 2 colors. But what he does is epic, and I think, but he sees and he knows, because of a lifetime of studying Pueblo art and Pueblo aesthetic, Pueblo design, he sees the epic nature of it, where some of us just see it as, oh, it's just decoration, oh, that's a pretty pot, oh, that's nice. But he saw how epic it was as a design forms, and what he did is he was able to he almost dissected it to its rawest essence. And in a sense, that's what I'm doing with my own work, do stencil work. I'm dissecting the images that I create to their rawest form. And that's why I like Virgil's work. But I would like Native people to see and value their work. That's why I was saying Native art belongs to Native people. It does not belong to institutions. It does not belong to markets. It does not belong to galleries. And thank you, wealthy collectors, but it doesn't even belong to wealthy collectors. It belongs to Native people.
Okay, thank you very much.